I wasn't just in direct sales. I wasn't just a part-time whatever, and I wasn't just Stephanie. I
Yeah.
was Stephanie Pressley, and I
Right.
was in that room because I earned the place to be in that room because I worked to be in that room like everybody else.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people need to acknowledge that they have earned their seat at the table. More than that, I think women need to own that they have earned their seat at that table.
Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the Other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of The Other 99%. I'm here with our co-host, Susan Larimer, and our special guest, Stephanie Pressley. And I met Stephanie a few years back. I think we actually first met in the Modern Direct Seller, even though we were both in the same company. We were both in Epicure. So, Stephanie, I just want you to jump in, sort of introduce yourself to the listeners, tell them who you are, what you do, and a little deep dive into like your direct sales world, like what brought you into the world, how you started, and where you are now, sort of.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. My name's Stephanie Pressley. I am the mother of that many and the wife of that many. Um, we have 4 sons and 1 daughter, and we have always traditionally homeschooled. We live in Minnesota. We are both transplants here, and I've been here for 30 years, so I guess I'm here. And what brought me into direct sales? My dad. My dad brought me into direct sales. I've been in direct sales. Well, I'm in my 50s. I've been in direct sales probably for about 51 years, to be fair.
Oh.
So my my father put himself through college selling Fuller Brush and then really enjoyed knocking on doors and getting to know people and visiting with them and all of the things. And so he just kept doing it like, hey, this is a way of making extra money. This is a way of doing this or that. And they got married and he learned about World Book Encyclopedia and started selling World Book Encyclopedia. And then he recruited my mother. And then they were selling World Book Encyclopedia. And somewhere out there, maybe listening is somebody who had a World Book Encyclopedia set or Childcraft set passed down to them by a parent who purchased it from my parents. Um, he would go into, I grew up in the Chicagoland area in Park Forest, and wherever he would go, if we were available, he was in charge of the kids. He would take us on calls with them and had us read Childcraft for people and say, oh, I have my kids read every day and all of the things. And so it was it just was the part of the fabric of my life, like putting labels on things and helping him with stickers and helping him with calls and helping with follow-up sheets and all of the things that are so automated today was how I hung out with my parents growing up. And then the earnings that they got from selling encyclopedias ended up going to pay for piano lessons, tap lessons, ballet, all of the things. It was my extracurriculars. Anybody who's into Regency era literature will know that that would make me a cultivated woman, right?
Mhm.
And those are my hobbies, and that's direct sales paid for me to be a cultivated woman, essentially.
Mhm.
But in the car all the time, always playing Zig Ziglar or some motivational speaker or something, always finding the silver lining, get up, just keep going, just get another no, all of the things. It was literally the soundtrack of my life. And then my first trip to Disney World was because my dad won the trip and was, I think, number one it was North America because somebody in Canada had beaten him. So But I think he was number 2 in North America, and so that was my memory of my first Disney World trip is because of World Book. And so that's how I got into direct sales. I don't know a time when I wasn't a part of it, when we weren't selling something or whatever. Even when they had stopped, my sister sent a postcard in for something. We ended up with a knock on the door because we became a warm lead. And this guy shows up at the house to sell Britannica. And he does his whole spiel, and he's a younger guy. He was there till probably 11 o'clock that night because my dad sat with him and worked with him on improving his talk and making him a more effective direct seller for Britannica.
He will
So
never come to
this
your house again.
right?
Or maybe
So
he
this
will.
maybe he would. This is the life that I grew up in. So when I ended up moving up here after college, got a job up here, I needed some extra money, and I don't know, what am I going to do? And actually, I needed makeup. And so I called a Mary Kay person because I used that. And then she invited me to a thing. And next thing you know, I'm a Mary Kay consultant. And then I was going for my red jacket and doing all of the things. So it's been very rare that I haven't been in direct sales. Fast forward a little bit, we started having kids, and I'm like, oh, I'm home all the time. And that's when we decided homeschool, just before my first one was going to be entering school. And homeschooling is probably also because of direct sales, because otherwise it was the World Book. It was the reading. It was, hey, you can answer a question this way. And hey, when my kids ask a question, I can just go ahead and we can find the answers together and discover together. All of that was, it would just lay the groundwork. And then after a while, if anybody's been a mom for half a minute, you kind of need to get out, hang out with other people, have some adult time. And so that's when I just started doing more in the direct sales field, because it was a little extra money, and it was a little bit of time out and meeting new people. And I like meeting new people. So let's see, it was Mary Kay. And then actually, I was doing Pampered Chef before I got married.
Okay.
And I still have some of that stuff because we threw ourselves a shower. And um yeah, Pampered Chef, Mary Kay. I was one of the first Norwex um consultants or reps in the United States. Um you name it, I've done it. You
So
name
how
it,
old
I've
were
done
you
it.
when you started with Mary Kay? What was your age with your first one?
22.
22. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I just got a Christmas card from my director. We had
Oh,
lunch last year. Yeah.
oh, that's
We
sweet.
went on bike trips and everything together. She was wonderful. I love her to pieces. Shout out to Marilyn.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
still with Mary Kay at some capacity,
I
or?
still only in the fact that in one of my direct sales networking clubs, I found a Mary Kay consultant. My eyes are Mary Kay today.
Mary Kay eyes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
What a
That's
So
funny.
unique
and so
story.
say again.
What a unique story. I mean, usually it's,
Yeah,
us
yeah,
coming into direct sales on our own, but this is all
right.
you've ever known.
It's
I
all
love
I've ever known. And so fast forward to when I started with Epicure. Um, I was coming out of Wild Tree, and Wild Tree had closed, and
I did Wild Tree.
somebody said, come to this info session, and I was like, no thanks. And they said, why not? And I said, because I was still mourning this thing, and I said, you can't invite me to a funeral and a wedding on the same day. I just can't do it. And then I was like, well, Stephanie, you might as well learn, otherwise you're going to be asking anyway later, so I'll go figure it out. So that's what I did. And it was probably a year after. I mean, I started without having seen anything or tasted anything. And it was maybe 6 months to a year into it that I went, oh, this answered a prayer. Because my prayer was, Lord, I need to do something where I don't need any training, but I can stay at home and do what I'm already doing and get paid for it. And Epicure did that because we had 7 mouths and they all needed feeding. And so by the time that tenure came to a close, 4 were graduated from our homeschool, and I have 1 left in our homeschool. And what has really been on my heart is, and I've done it for years. I've probably done it for the last 20 years. Is I've been a speaker at homeschool groups and moms groups and all of the things, and that's really where my heart is family and loving my people and encouraging women. And so that's kind of the direction that I've gone now and pivoted because it's my happy place. And I think there's always been a part of me that has felt like when I make it big in direct sales, when I hit that 1%, I'm going to
Mhm.
do blah, blah, blah. And I've gotten to a place where I'm like, why am I waiting to do what I know I'm supposed to do? So that's it. I'm just gonna pivot and do the thing that I love, which is encouraging people and sharing. And seasons change, and maybe this company fits you best now, and this one fits you best later. And maybe it's I don't know. It could be a variety of things, but my joy is encouraging people. And so, um, after Epicure closed last year, my husband said, "Take some time." Take a month or 2 and just figure it out and just feel your feels. And it was so funny when he said it because I always say, feel your feels, cry your cries. And you got to get them out, right? And it was in that time that I realized that the thing that made me happiest, anything in direct sales, going to the party, meeting the people, learning about them and discovering them and staying connected. And the product isn't necessary to have a relationship and to be an encouragement to others. So that's when I knew this is the direction that I need to go. So there's me in a nutshell.
I love that. So can you dive more into what you're doing now? Like you're speaking, but like what are you speaking about? Who are you speaking to now?
I am so more of what I'm doing is speaking is one component of it, but I think, Lisa, my gut, like deep down, it's when people hit hard places, women, let's start with that. When women hit hard places, they're like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? Why isn't this working? I'm doing something wrong. We beat ourselves up and we can't figure out how to fix it, how to fix it, how to fix it. And sometimes, most times, the problem isn't us. The problem is nothing. It's not a problem. It's a situation. This is a set of circumstances that you haven't hit before. So you don't know which tools to use. If you've never seen a nail and you've been walking around with a hammer your whole life, you don't know that hammer's supposed to hit that nail.
Mm.
And so you got to figure it out. You got to go, wait, what? But you for a while, you just spin around going, what's going on? I don't know why this nail is here. What's this called? Right? You don't even think about the toolbox that's in your hand that has the hammer in it.
Mm.
Right? And so I think that's my happy place. Somebody told me once, you have really good survival skills. And that's what I do is it's the perspective. It's just, hey, well, how did you get to that? What decision did you make? What about this? What about that? And I think the piece of direct sales that has supported this direction in my perspective is all those Zig Ziglar tapes, all those years, and the motivational speaking and all the I mean, how many oh, what's his name? John Maxwell books have I
Mhm.
read or listened
Pretty well
to and
know.
all
Yep.
the things. It's just, part of the fabric. And so I just look for that other way, that other direction. And helping people identify that and then they go, you're right. Yeah. Okay, I can do this. And to help people realize their own potential and their own capability, it's like
Mm.
it's a drug for me. It really is. It really is. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And I started kind of thinking, okay, I want to talk to homeschooling moms because I'm a homeschooler and that's what I know. And as I feel more of a veteran homeschooler, I feel like I almost know maybe what I'm talking about because I graduated 4 of them. But then my daughter-in-law, oh, bless her heart, she put my name in the hat for an event where she works. And I was invited to speak and be the closing speaker at a conference for women, and it's college age women. And I got so excited when they told me the topic because it is like right up my alley, and I've had so much fun preparing. So I think those moments that I described, that not knowing which way to turn, not knowing how to navigate and all of those things, I don't think it's specific to a time period of life. I think it's an approach and a philosophy in how you tackle something. So I did a Christmas workshop on handling the holidays that was more geared to homeschooling parents, because it can be a very hard place. From a homeschool perspective, do I keep doing school through? Do I take a break? I need to do this. I'm overwhelmed. If you have a lot of kids and you're a Christian homeschooler, the pageant and all of the things can become very stressful. But there's just a lot of pieces to it. So I was doing that. So workshops, webinars, things like that is what I'm looking to do, and just identify that nugget that may be difficult for a larger group of people. But I'm also opening up my services to coach and be able to just say, hey, what's that hard thing right now? And it may not take but, one, two, or three coaching sessions, and you're like, I did it. And you walk away and, you've conquered the thing. Great. You've done it. I am so proud of you. You are who you thought you were inside. Nothing was wrong. You just needed to see it differently.
Mhm.
I'm getting all excited. Like, it really is. It really is my happy place. Yeah.
Love that. So,
Well,
someone listening to this podcast, they're like, okay, I am right there. I'm a mom, homeschooling, or my kids are graduating. I'm trying to figure out this time. And I love what you said. Like, we've never been here before. So, you're not expected to know how to do everything. And just hearing that just like releases a burden from my shoulders.
mhm,
Like, yeah, we're all figuring this out, but let's
right.
learn from someone who has been here
Mhm.
before. So someone listening, they're like, okay, I need Stephanie in my life. What's the process? They reach out to you? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, just reach out to me. You can shoot me an email at hello@stephaniepressley.com and help. I believe I have a coaching link on my website, stephaniepressley.com, and you can just click and sign up for a coaching session. Yeah, it's that easy. Nothing should be that hard.
Easy button.
And I can't do a lot of steps. I mean, just getting up and getting myself going is, yeah, yeah.
Now, I know that you're working on something. Are you ready to share about that yet? Is it launched? What's going on there?
It should be, I don't know when this podcast will air. I know that it should be launched. It's basically, and I do it on Instagram, which is, it's Stephanie.Pressley, but it's the three gets framework. It's pretty basic, and it's just get up and get dressed, get your makeup on, get dinner started. Those three things. And those three things, if you start there, your whole day is settled. If you know what's for dinner, right? From the front of
Win.
the day, it is a win. But I talk a little bit about, in that framework, about, why is that? What's the rationale behind all of that? And just being able to track that. And it's something that was introduced to me years ago by somebody, and I realized probably in the last 5 years that it has kind of propelled me and been instrumental. So that really is, it'll be available on my website as a freebie, and to just jump into the three gets framework, and you'll get um, a little deep dive into each of the steps and how to apply them, and another video about how not to beat yourself up with it, because if anybody takes anything I say and they beat themselves up with it, I have failed.
Mm.
Because it's all about having a goal, not an expectation to self-sabotage. That is not the plan. Not the plan.
All
So
right. So, what are some tools or systems that you use in your business every day to keep you organized, to keep you communicating with your clients? What do you love?
I prefer email if so I don't lose it.
Okay.
I don't mind being texted, but I lose it. It like falls out of it's a fleeting thing. Um, so email, I just like a good conversation, Susan. I
Okay.
mean, that's my tool right
Yeah.
there.
Your mouth and your ears.
mouth in my ears. Yeah, people text, 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 and I'm like, "Can you just call me and we can just knock it out?" I feel like and I think that has to do, my college training was in rhetoric. And so it's about message and I need to hear, and I need to hear your tone because you can send me a text and it just be as good as ever. And if I hear your voice, I can zero in on exactly, you know, what's going on. There was I had a homeschool coaching client recently, um, and on paper, she was one thing. And then we jumped on our call. And as life is, she was trying to be in point A when we had our call, and somebody called and she was going to point B, and her son was in the car and he wasn't supposed. So she was in the midst of real life when we had our call. And that put so much flesh around the bones of what I had seen on paper. And when I thought I was gonna go right, I went left in being able to talk to her because I was able to see where she really was at in her set of circumstances, and it ended up being a wonderful call, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I can do this." I'm like, "You can." So, yeah.
So
Were
I'm
there
just
any other tools you were thinking of in terms of
I mean,
like, I don't know,
sometimes
do
we
you
talk
mean
about, like,
systems?
Project Broadcast and
Mm.
SynShare and, like, any kind of tools that you use to keep yourself organized or I mean, are you on social media a lot that you use, like, scheduling tools or what keeps you organized?
So
Hey everyone, just a quick pause to thank today's sponsor, Cinshare. Cinshare is a social media scheduler designed for direct sellers and creators alike. It's your go to tool for planning, scheduling, and simplifying social media right from your phone. Built to take away the overwhelm, it lets you upload your own content, use a ready to share library, schedule across multiple platforms, or post on the go using the Cinshare keyboard. Want to learn more about Cinshare or grab a free 30-day trial? Visit lisadoc.com/SynShare. Now back to the episode.
I a paper planner.
Okay.
Like, if it's not in my paper planner, it was literally gonna fall over my head. I sat on Sunday night, actually, and did my entire planner, and I haven't looked at it. It's sitting over there on the sofa. I haven't looked at it since, but I haven't missed anything. Because once I write it down, it's like it seals it, and I know if and I can use it as reference. I use Project Broadcast. I'm hoping to use it a little more in doing, an encouraging quote of the week to just send out to moms with just, a little encouraging note. Have try I use an online planner only for things where we have to do a large thing for family, um, but I don't like it. I go kicking and screaming having to do it because it's just annoying. But to schedule a call with me, I'll use Calendly, and for the professional things that I can't let them fall through the cracks, I'll definitely do that, but I think that's kinda pretty it. I'm very bare bones. Um,
You're
I have
old
since
school, which works. I mean, eyes, ears, paper planner. Like, you have
eyes
all the tools you need if social
uh-huh,
media and technology implodes, you are
mhm.
still able to do your business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as cleanser, toner, exfoliate, moisturize. Like it's that basic stuff. And so one of my sons was in he had some medical stuff when he was younger. And it was at a time where at the children's hospital you still shared a room. And so the young man who was in the bed next to him was having surgery. It was robotic surgery. He was having like an experimental thing for scoliosis and all. And their family had been through a gazillion surgeries for him. And she came in, she slept next to his bed on the sofa thing that they provided for her. And I heard these sounds in the morning and I looked up and there she was at the little sink in the hospital room taking out her Mary Kay bottles, and she was doing her, it was the classic basics before Time Wise even existed, and she's doing her whole thing and rinsing off her face and she just sat down and she just sat. And about 10 minutes later, people came through the door, and it was her husband and her 2 other kids. He gets them ready for school and brings them to say bye to mom for the day. She says, "Have a good day," does all their thing. "What are you having for lunch?" Had their moment, and then they left. She put that bed right back down, and she went right back to sleep. And I was like, "Okay, that was deep." That has
Oh,
stuck with me forever
yeah.
because she did the basics to be present and available. And I feel like most things are like that. We can convolute it, we can make it so much more difficult than it really needs to be. But getting up and getting dressed, throw something on your face and figure out how you're going to close the day out with dinner.
Mm,
Done. Same thing. And I think tools are the same way. Just a way to communicate, making sure you're in the moment when you're in that moment. I'm a friction pen girl, and I've been a friction pen girl before anybody was into the friction pens because we had a curriculum where you had to we had to diagram sentences and mark verbs and nouns and all of the things. And so I got that set of 3, the black, the blue, and the red, so that we could mark everything. And we've probably been using those since late 2000s, like 28. Yeah. And now my planner is every person in my family has a color, and I write all their events in a different color. So, but I don't have to cross out.
Now, I'm just curious because I know that your dad had a big influence, your parents had a big influence on you and your journey into direct sales. Just curious, have any of your children ventured into that realm?
Yes and no. Um, I know my dad had a big influence on me. Well, both of my parents did. Um, my dad was the I'm gonna be that 1%, and my mom was like, calm down, you know. And so they balanced each other brilliantly. They're oh gosh, I love them so much. Anyway, um, of the 5, well, they all have an entrepreneurial spirit. We purchased when my oldest was 8 turning 9. He, well, his first job, I think he was 3, maybe 4. He started boxing, he got paid like a few cents per box. My friend owned the bakery in town, and so he would put together the boxes for dozens,
hmm.
and he'd assemble them and pass them over, and, he'd get paid every week, just, a little bit of chump change, and he loved that job, and when they had to let him go, he still says that it's the first time he got laid off. And
I, for one.
he just hated it, and he wanted to be in charge of his own money and his own da 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 da, nobody's gonna fire me again. So, he's 8 turning 9, and we got a bike-operated ice cream cart, and we sold ice cream in the neighborhood, and I think we ran it through 2019. It wasn't realistic to do it in 2020, but from 2008 to 2019, we had Sunny Day Treats ice cream cart. He's now a writer. And he's in marketing, and so, he lives in New York, and he's got, like, 17 billion jobs, so entrepreneurial and gig economy kind of kid. Um, my second one, multiple roles. He works in ministry, youth ministry. Uh, Third one, yep, 2 jobs. He's about to graduate college. You know what's interesting about him is he's the encourager, and when I'm down, he's like, "No, mom, you've
Mhm.
got this," and sometimes when I'd be in a slump and I'd, "Is this even gonna work? Why am I trying? Da, 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 and why is this so hard for me?" And I remember one day he looked at me and he said, "Mom, this is so hard for you because it's your passion, so you just do it. It's hard because you have to be vulnerable," and I was like, "Who raised you? Who made you this person?" I've created beasts is what I've done. And let's see, the 4th one, he's my little engineer kid, and he's he's entrepreneurial to a point. I don't know, he's in his first year of college, and he's got such amazing giftings, and he has a vision, and I know he's gonna pursue it. He's the one that we used to be in the back of the car, and he'd say, "Mom, I'm going to live on the land. And I'm like, huh? And he's, well, I'm going to fish. I'm going to have my own land. I'm going to do this. And I said, well, how are you going to fish? What are you going to use for bait? I'm going to use corn. It's the best bait. And I said, well, where are you going to get the corn? I'm going to grow the corn. And I'm like, he's going to live with us forever. Like, it's kind of worried there for a minute. But all of them in some way are either extremely encouraging and motivational or entrepreneurial and very, very personable. When I see them interact with people, even those that are more precocious or shy. My daughter is amazing, and she's the little girl I wish I could be. She's the old, I should say, the young woman, given as she's growing up. But she's she's a good observer and she's a good listener, and she sees hearts. She sees and she feels hearts, and then she responds very subtly. She's quiet and she's cool. She's
Mm,
cool.
that's
I want to
cool.
be
I
her when I
love
grow
that.
up. She thinks I'm joking when I say that, and I'm not. So sometimes I feel like I'm too much, and I feel like she's a more metered, just enough. Yeah.
So I have a
Yeah.
question. Since
Yes.
you grew up in direct sales, we always talk about direct sales can have a very negative reputation. Did you ever feel that growing up, or because you grew up in it, you just knew that it was a valuable source of income and a valid job? And so what are your views on direct sales, or has it changed?
Um, I've always considered it valid. Um, I'm telling you, when you grow up in a house of optimism, it's really hard to know that. I don't know if there was any flack or pressure or anything coming at my parents about why are you doing that, right? I came up in the 70s. I think it was more of a norm then, you know? But I also it wasn't just the World Book. By trade, my father was a pharmacist.
Hmm.
And so he worked in retail pharmacy, and then for a little bit, he jumped off and he worked at, he was a pharmaceutical representative for a pharmaceutical company for a few years. And when you're doing that, you're going to, visit doctors and you're going to hospitals and doing all of those things. So all of your materials are there in your home. And so he had to put labels on things and stickers on things. And I'm trying to think of where it is right now. I have a ruler over there that was it was one of the things that he would give out as a measurement. I still have that ruler. Whatever the ruler. And pads of paper that we're still using. Like how many and but getting the what do you call those things? I guess the gifts and things together and giving those out, it was also still very valid and paid full-time income, and there was a car and all of the things. So that's livelihood. It's
Yeah.
work and it's livelihood.
Yeah.
And I think as I've grown, um, I think I went through a phase where it was, yeah, I'm I'm not worth it. It's just, it's just a little money. It's just a part-time job. It's just whatever. And I'm kind of done with the just stuff. Because I'm not just a mom. I am a mother and I am influencing my children. And I think it's easier to see that now that they're grown and I see what they're doing with things. And then they'll say, yeah, I remember when I figured out blah 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 blah. And I'm like we did a curriculum that was um character-based curriculum, and they all had to we would study the character trait, and then the curriculum supplemented that. So when we studied patience, it was patience is waiting without complaining, or patience is waiting constructively, right? So my son was submitting some things for agents to look at and kept getting rejections and kept getting rejections. And he said, "It's fine. I'm just going to keep writing. I have to be constructive while I'm working, and I'll just be patient." And I was like, I don't think he noticed he did it. I mean, it was probably 14 years after we went through that unit, but I could see, you know, how that would be a part of it. So probably, was it last year? The last 2 years, I guess not 2025, 23 and 24, I was in a networking club. And I'm sitting in there one day and I looked around the table and it was me representing Epicure. There was a Mary Kay consultant. There was a Norwex representative. And there was a guy who fixes gutters. And there was an insurance agent. And there was a videographer. And everybody had their own business. And everybody was respected on their own merit for the business that they represented. And I sat there, and after maybe 2 meetings, I was like, I was sitting taller. I was, because I wasn't just
Mhm.
in direct sales. I wasn't just a part-time whatever, and I wasn't just Stephanie. I
Yeah.
was Stephanie Pressley, and I was in that room because I earned the place to be in that room because I worked to be in that room like everybody else.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people need to acknowledge that they have earned their seat at the table. More than that, I think women need to own that they have earned their seat at that table.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
I love that you say
yeah.
that. I love that because it's so true. It's like this job, this business is no different than any other way to earn an income. I mean,
Mm,
if we are doing it with our heart and doing it for the right reasons, then you are a business owner. You need to treat it like that. I love that you said that,
mhm.
Stephanie.
I think mentally we get ourselves to a place where we almost would, this is, yeah, it's going to come out wrong if I say it like that. Um, Waste management is probably one of the most important roles in our society, right?
Agree.
And somebody could say, "Oh, you're a trash guy," or whatever, right? You need to say thank you. I had a friend who went on a missions trip many years ago, came back, and there wasn't an official waste management program in the place where she visited. Trash was just out on the road with the smell and the odor and all of the things. The community was the landfill,
Mm.
essentially. When you think about the health issues associated with that and what it makes your world feel like growing up, right? You're not just a waste management person,
Mm.
right? But I say that just to set the groundwork that I have a great appreciation for waste management. Now, that said, when we say, oh, I'm just a mom, oh, I'm just in direct sales, I think we tend to put ourselves even below what we would think, oh, just waste management. And that's not fair. It's not fair to yourself. You get up and you work hard at whatever you're doing. Nobody wants to look in the mirror and go, "I suck today." Right? You work and you do so you can look in the mirror and you go to bed and you're like, "I worked on that. I worked hard. I'm proud of me." So, yeah,
Yeah. Love
All
that.
our
right.
self-talk is a big deal.
I think it's time because I'm curious to see what it's going to be, but I think it's time for you to give us your quote.
Okay. So, there's 2. 'Cause I'm me and I'm extra. I would venture to say from a business perspective, my quote is, I found it in a Stephen Covey flip calendar. It was probably 1994, 95 that I found it. And it said, "It's easy to say no when there's a bigger yes burning on the inside of you." Isn't that great? And that's the thing, like, should I do this? Well, is there something else that you wanna do? Do you have peace about it? There's questions that you can ask to kinda navigate if you get a yes or a no, but it's a really good barometer. It's a really good barometer. So that from the business perspective, should I really do this? Um, and then my other one is actually scriptural, and it is just, "Let out of your mouths only what's good for the benefit of others to build them up according to their needs."
Mm.
So, yeah. Yeah. So, and I think it just kind of fits me. Like, I have to say no to a lot of these other things because I want to build others up. And those both quotes have been with me for so, so long, and I'm finally trying to live them out.
I love
Awesome.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know, Stephanie, there's probably going to be a lot of people going to your website. So I encourage you to look at your analytics after this episode airs. And you can find her at stephaniepressley.com. Like Susan said, we love our names as our domains, just easy to find us. But Stephanie, thank you so much for being here and
Thank
sharing your
you.
story with the other 99% listeners. And we hope to see you guys all next week on another episode of The Other 99%. Take care, everyone. Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Other 99%. We just want to say thank you. It truly means the world to us that you're here. Lisa and I absolutely love creating these episodes for you, and we're so grateful to have you in our community. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to like, share with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We drop fresh content every Tuesday. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas? Leave us a comment. Want to be a guest on the show? We would love to chat with you. Apply by clicking the link in the show notes. Thanks again for spending time with us today, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Other 99%.